For 5 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, thanks for holding this markup. It is so important because in America, I think the greatest inequality is between a person who holds a job and one who doesn't. The bipartisan welfare reform of the 1990s, in the work requirements specifically, were just critical to the successes of reducing poverty, reducing dependence on government, getting people back to work, especially those in low-income families, especially those with single moms struggling. And so I think it's the heart of this issue is the fact that we can't go backwards to the bad old days of welfare. We can't go backwards to the days where states counted as work, personal care activities, massage, exercise, journaling, motivational reading. This is what states counted. It just seems to me, getting your hair done, getting a massage, taking a jog, scribbling in your diary and reading "I'm okay, you're okay" is not real work. And it won't get you ready for a real job. And that's at the heart of welfare reform. And that's why it's so critical we continue to insist that people do their very best to get back on their feet and into a job with all the self-esteem that goes with that. So I want to fact-check these fact-checkers a minute, Mr. Whitinger. Some are saying that that states need this flexibility to increase and strengthen work requirements. But my understanding is that states can already do that. The only waivers they could seek would be to weaken the work requirement. Can you comment?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Brady. The difference between the AFDC program, or at least the waivers on the AFDC program, and the waivers that are contemplated under the TANF program under the administration's information memorandum boil down to this. AFDC created restrictions from states wanting to strengthen work requirements. States then sought waivers to strengthen work requirements. The TANF program created strong work requirements and that are minimum thresholds that states have to satisfy. And if they want to strengthen work requirements further, it is up to them without the need for a waiver. So, for example, in general, 50% of able-bodied adults on welfare are expected to engage in work activities, the 12 that Mr. Levin referenced. If states wanted to engage 75% of their current caseload in those activities, they are perfectly capable to do. As I mentioned before, the administration's July 18th letter anticipates something different. They anticipate something called an increase in employment exits, which has been discussed and former President Clinton actually discussed at the Democratic Convention. Let me read to you from a fact checker that the Washington Post put out on this question on Tuesday. Still, there is enough uncertainty about how the administration will implement these waivers that it is a stretch for Clinton to declare for certain that a 20% threshold must be met and to claim that more people will end up working under this new system. It is not quite so simple as that, and neither is it yet clear that the net result is that more people on welfare will end up working.
So so one fact checker just fact checked another in that point.
This is actually a fact checker who seems to be having second thoughts about his prior fact check.
Okay. That helps clarify everything. Let's fact check another claim. Many people are saying, in fact, I read this as well, that Republican governors, including Governor Romney, actually requested waivers of welfare work requirements in a 2005 letter to Senate Majority Leader Frist. My understanding, though, is that the letter that the governors, in their request, they wanted greater flexibility to actually increase work requirements. Can you fact check that fact check?
Yes. The 2005 letter pertained to a Senate bill called the PRIDE Act. PRIDE Act included provisions that suggested that states could better coordinate at least 3 programs, the TANF program, the Social Services Block Grant, and the Child Care program. It didn't provide for waivers specifically or in any detail of the TANF work requirements. There have been similar proposals that Congress has considered and actually made it to the House floor in the past decade that would provide for the same thing. They would provide for program coordination. In effect, the principle being that the TANF work requirements could be applied to other programs, not that the TANF work requirements themselves could be undermined. That's what that bill was about. And in fact, the PRIDE bill actually suggested that 50% work participation requirement for the current caseload be gradually increased to 70%. So that bill was about strengthening work and allowing states to better coordinate programs.
All right, thank you.